All right, all right, all right. As Matthew McConaughey would say. Welcome, everybody. This is recipe session 2. For those of you who are watching this as a replay, you want to fast forward just a little bit while we're just making sure we get everybody all settled and all inside. People have to refresh their live YouTube and all that sort of stuff. Rainy California. Well, I think you guys need some rain, so that's probably a good thing. So I'm glad you've got some. Washington State, Sweden, Eric, how you going now? Just double check with everybody. Hi, Jochin. That's probably Jochen, isn't it? Morning, Ed. How many days do you get up at this crazy hour? 4. Oh, but I like this. This is my preferred time of day. I'm not a night person. Palau. Hi, Barbara. Lots of the gang all here. That's brilliant. Very good. And just confirm everybody that you can see the recipe session 2 slide. There's no echoes. Audio is okay, and you can see my audio here. Oh, look, and the person from New Zealand snuck in and under their own actually, oh no, it's fine for you. You know, I hack on New Zealand a lot, mainly because I'm jealous. But don't tell all my New Zealand friends that, because it's actually the best place in the world to run an internet business from. And why do I say that? It's because it's the only place on the planet where you can work, where in your workday, there's also the European and the United States working day. So it's a very, very cool place to run an internet business from. There you go. A little bit of geography and internet timing and business information for you here. All right, great. Well, I think we are almost ready to go here. Really excited to see what you came up with. Which is great. Got some more exercises, I should say. Before we get started, please make sure you've got some pen and paper because, as I always say, my workshops are workshops. I put the work into the shop. No, there's no shop, actually, because you've already bought the thing, so that's great. But there is definitely work. As I said, if I could do this on video, I'd put it on video, and then we'd all get up at an appropriate time. Although I'd be up at this time anyway because I like it. Hello, Leslie, and everybody. That's fantastic. All right, this is great. Okay, so let's go. So let's do a very brief little recap here. In our first session, we realized that every project or indeed recipe, to continue on with our theme, that's why it's called the recipe, has 4 components. A recipe has salt, fat, acid, and heat. And our project that we're going to do, our business that we're going to create, has market, traffic, conversion, and product. That's the salt, acid, fat, and heat of those type of processes. Then we went through and talked about the Japanese philosophy, and well, it's more than a lifestyle. It's ikigai, which basically literally means reason for being, or life. Literally, it's life reason. Iki, life, guy, reason, is what it means. And we talked about that in the context of your, of what you do. And I think for me, it's a key element. Remember, one of the reasons I was able to start my new business from scratch, starting with nothing, having to sell guitar amp for ad money, was playing to my strengths. And so there are 2 key things when we go to market selection that I really wanted you to focus on. The first thing was this, right? Your strengths. Can we build upon your strengths? And to do that, we did an exercise where we looked at what you love, what skills do I have, what am I good at, and how I can help people. And what was really interesting was we were looking at all of the different, like we were looking for commonalities. Is there anywhere that there is a commonality for you, right? With be it, in my case, across all 4 columns was the activity of teaching. Okay, so and it's something that I really, really love, right? So that's it's there's no coincidence that I don't mind getting up at this time in the morning for everybody because I love what I do. I love helping you guys. It's something that I really enjoy. But then, as we discussed, strength is only one part. As much as I have spoken for years and years about that the market, every market is a market. And as I mentioned, if you just look around where you're at, every single object, literally the person who printed this paper, obviously Post-it notes, Pelican fans, everything is $1 million, business. Right? Everything that you can see, the person who created that product has made $1 million, right? They've become a member of the 2 Comma Club, to use Russell's ClickFunnels methodology, right? All of them have, right? All of them. And so every market's a market, and I've seen people do $10,000 a month businesses in the most strange markets you could possibly imagine. Having said that, if I decided to, there's no way I would have achieved my $10,000 in 68 tickets in my market if I chose to establish myself in a completely fresh and new market. Can I do that? Yes. Absolutely. Can I do that in a 68 ticket timeframe, or when I started this, before I started thinking in terms of recipe and coming up with the concept of the recipe, could I have done it in 30 days? No, because I would need to understand the market. I was already learning one brand new thing, right? Which was how to use Instagram to get leads, basically how to use, continue with our metaphor, how to use, limes instead of lemons as my acid. I'd never worked with limes before. And if the recipe calls for lemons and you don't have lemons, now a really good master chef can realize, okay, you want lemons, but if I use these 2 ingredients, I'll achieve the same result. This is what the lemon is doing in that recipe. Is the lemon core to it? In other words, if you don't have, like it's a lemon cheesecake, right? If you substitute the lemon with the lime, it becomes a different thing, right? Or you can't make a key lime pie without limes, right? It makes it very tricky. Becomes a different thing. But that's where a master chef is able to go, oh, okay, I see what you're doing there. We're not master chefs right now, right? So, but here's the thing. We're all very good. We're all masters in something. Right? We have things that we're good at. We have skills that people have paid for, even though right now you might be thinking, okay, I've got these skills, but I have no idea how that's going to be a business or how that's making money. And that's the subject. The final thing I asked you to do was to go away and have a look at which markets make money. In these columns, typically markets are what do you love, are found in the what do you love section and the who can you help, your serving section. Those 2, because markets like, what do you love? Golf. Golf is a market. I also love Magic the Gathering. Right now, if you were to look at golf versus Magic the Gathering, and for those of you who are wondering what the hell is Magic the Gathering, it's a card game. It's a profession. People play it professionally. There's a huge business around it for a group of people. But if you were to look at just in terms of, okay, making money, golf, Magic the Gathering, What would I use? Well, it's obvious where people are making money in golf, right? There are many courses. There are many, you've probably seen infomercials on golf. You've seen all sorts of things. Very, very good, Tom and Diego. You see all sorts of really cool, stuff. There's equipment. There are golf stores, in every town. There's golf courses in every town, right? It's all obvious. It's over the place. Whereas Magic the Gathering, very big, if you know what I'm talking about, right? But it's not so obvious, right? As it turns out, yes, there are shops that sell Magic the Gathering and hold mini tournaments, and there are tournaments and all that sort of thing. But if you look at scale of market, if we talk about dollars and dollars, it's incredibly obvious where people are making money with golf. And unless you know where to look, it's not as obvious. It's not as people are making money with Magic the Gathering, but if you look at the number of literally pure quantity, that makes a big difference. All right. So that is what we are looking at today. So in the session 2, what are we doing today? We need to decide what you're going to cook. It's that simple. Right? Because then as we go forth next month, where we actually start, putting together our tickets next week, don't panic, next week, where we start putting together our tickets to get you ready to start on, the 1st of January or 2nd of January, have 1st of January off, enjoy yourself because you've done all this great preparation work beforehand, right? We'll be starting to do this ticket, but we need to know what to do the tickets on. Are you going to be cooking a roast chicken, or are you going to be doing key lime pie, right? We need to get a base, what sort of thing are we, what are we doing, meat and 3 veg, or are we doing something different, right? And we need to figure out what that is going to be, all right? So, okay, the final part of the intro before we start getting you working. Oops, why is that? Come over here, little buddy. Okay, what I would love you to do, just in the I agree, the cooking metaphor is just magnificent when you think about it. And that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of a big idea. Anyway, I digress. That's for the academy. Now, here's what I want to, and as we start out on session 2, I want to know there will be some of you that have come in with, you've got a market in mind. You've already got your market in mind. You know what you're going to be cooking. And there are some of you who don't know what you're going to be cooking. Can you just put in the chat window whether you are in I know what I'm going to cook, or you don't know what you're going to cook? Let me know in the chat. Don't know. Both, Val. That's a very tricky situation to be in. Don't know. No, don't know. No idea. I know. Sounds like me talking to Julie. I know. I forgot to take out the rubbish. I didn't last night. It's rubbish day today. I know. I have it works. Don't completely know. A spoon in 2 pots. That's a nice saying, Hill. Love that. I've seen some good recipes I want to try. Nice, Sandy. So and the reason I wanted to do this was I wanted to give you some comfort, right? There are people in both sides of my oath, Lou Riley. You've got an awesome market. I'm so excited. Your recipe is going to be the best. Okay. Here's what I want you to be thinking about today. If you know, and by the way, if any of you are saying, I sort of know, or I'm sitting on the fence, then you're in the don't know category, right? You simply do not know, right? And I'll go into that in a second. So I know what I'm cooking. If you are in that category, that is fantastic. What I want you to do as I'm talking about these things today, and as you're doing these exercises today, there's one thing I want you to think about, and it's that metaphor of golf versus Magic the Gathering. I could have easily chosen any other thing, but I think they're not sure if it's wise to use your practical market approach because you'll run out of excuses, Eugene. um, if you know what you're cooking, if we call golf a 10 market, and I feel cruel calling Magic the Gathering too, because right, I know people, I literally know people who have got amazing businesses in Magic the Gathering, but for the purposes of this, I am belittling it a little. Right, golf being a 10 style market and Magic the Gathering being a 1 style market, which means when you have to dig, it's obvious. If I type in golf in Google, there'll be a bunch of ads. If I type in golf equipment or golf lessons, golf training, boom, I'm going to be smashed with information products, videos, ebook stuff to buy, e-commerce. Right, I'm not talking about products yet. Mate, be very clear. All I was asking you to do was it's all about the dollars, right? Where is it obvious that people are making money in that market? That's it. One of the things, and I got some great feedback from our Academy students, and the good news is, of course, is you're all going to be part of the Academy in January. So when I mention the Academy, get excited because you are all going to be in the Academy come January. So when we were talking about this in the Academy during the week, people were already saying, but I can't see what product I'm going to create, or I don't understand what product I'm going to do. Good news. Did I mention anything about products yet? Right? There is no way I didn't mention the word product. I didn't say what product are you going to create? What service are you going to do? I didn't say that. I just said, are there people making money in that market? That is absolutely crucial. All right. So that is absolutely key. So here we go. So golf versus the Magic the Gathering. That's what I want you. I know what I'm cooking, right? I want you to be very comfortable thinking about where am I at on this scale of 1 through to 10. And I know I've twisted it around. All right, because, right, in some ways, it's not a like 1 means you're an idiot and 10 means fantastic. It can be quite the golf is a very big market. It's because any big market is a highly competitive market, like weight loss, health, all of these sorts of things, right? So it's not a guide, right, to whether something's easy or not, but it does give you just want you to go in eyes wide open, right? So if you if you choose a 10 market, then that means certain things. And if you choose a 1 market, that also means certain things. You've got less competition, but you may have to work harder to establish yourself. In 10 markets, you've got more you've got way more competition, but people are used to buying what you're going to offer. They're throwing money at courses all the time, right? So when I was looking, so typically what I and many other people will say is, like, if speed of making money is everything, then you probably want to look at the higher end of the spectrum rather than the lower end of the spectrum. Both will, after, a year to 2 time frame, create a great business. But there's potentially on a one market, a lot more groundwork that needs to be done. Does that make sense? Okay. For those of you who've chosen a market, do you smell what the rock is cooking? Let me know in the chat. Much more low-hanging fruit in a 10 market. Absolutely. Len, that's good. Would like to try a new recipe, but don't want to starve. Yes, and never forget, we're only talking about markets in the context of your ikigai. Bloody Australian accent. Right? If your market doesn't appear here, like if it's not in here, you shouldn't be doing it. I'll be that blunt. Good. Excellent. Very good, very good, very good, very good. Okay. For those of you who don't know, here's what, there's a couple of things I want to talk to you about. As Len said, he didn't want to starve, or he didn't want to make something that he didn't like. Now, the way we avoid making something that you don't like is by coming back to your ikigai, right? Because if you choose from something from the what do I love column or what can help the world column, you either have enjoyment or purpose. See how this works? So as long as you're choosing from those columns, you are good, right? That is important. All right. So that is great because then you'll always have something you always, instead of going to a recipe book and saying, oh, okay, I am going to choose the recipe that this person is telling me to do. That's the beauty of the recipe, right? I hope you're getting this, right? Instead of me saying to you, okay, we're all going to create health-based products. Watch me as I create a health-based product using Instagram, right? Many of you have never used Instagram before in your life. So all of a sudden you're doing something that's already out of your ikigai, right? So that's a problem, right? You're already out of, doesn't mean you don't want to learn stuff or you don't want to do stuff, but do you see that the power of this is to understand all of our choices in relation to where we are with our ikigai. And that is what makes this so different. And we're creating something that you enjoy. So that's how we solve the will I like it problem. Now, the other big problem is, will it work? Can I actually do it? Let me change colors here. There we are. Will it work? Another thing that's holding you back. First, a very important point for you all to know. There will be a percentage of you who are doing the recipe right now who will get no further than today. It's just the reality. I hope to minimize that as much as possible, but that's the reality. And let me tell you why it's the reality. It's because you have a fear of, will it work? Will I like it? Or will I waste my time? And by as one of my old mentors, Dr. Michael Hewitt Gleason, used to tell a great joke when he was speaking. The reason salespeople go to their sales managers and say, rather than say, no, I didn't get the deal, or they wouldn't ever ask the question, right? They would never even ask the question, is because like when they were doing sales, like a sales manager say, hey, did you get the sale? And they say, no, they haven't said anything yet, because they haven't asked the question. And the reason that they didn't ask the question was because while they haven't got a firm no, there's a possibility, right? So it's better not to even ask the question. And as Michael joked, that's why they have movie theaters open in the day. It's for all the salespeople, right, who are there instead of getting no's from their clients, right? And that is such a key metaphor for what happens here. If you don't choose a market, you can be very comfortable. You can say, oh, no, look, I haven't failed in doing this business because I'm still choosing a market. That's effectively what's happening. And so I'm going to call you on it, right? The reality is that if you've got to go forward, if you can't choose the market, what recipe we're going to cook, then you can't move forward. And for some of you, that'll be great because you can say, oh, look, I couldn't choose between the market, and I'll do this, I'll do the recipe when I can choose the market and I'm really confident in the market. Newsflash, any system known to man, and this is absolutely vital, right? Any good system, I don't care whether it's a stock market system, a health system, here is a fundamental of life. I want you to all write this down. Fundamental. Any good system can only tell you if something won't work. All right. Any good system will only tell you something if it won't work. There is no system in any market, in any planet, that will guarantee you something does work. All it'll guarantee you is that it won't work, right? So if you follow my recipe, you'll get some sort of thing. When you pull it out of the oven, there'll be something there. Now, will it be this most perfect, beautifully risen sponge cake of all time? Or will it be burnt and a bit brown on the top? Or will it have not risen at all because you used plain flour instead of self-raising flour? Right? That all I can do when I'm doing a cooking recipe is doing that. All I can do when I'm doing a stock market system is tell you when it's a great time not to buy the stock or implement the procedure, right? The best investor on the planet, Warren Buffett, all his rules, all his methodologies are about eliminating stocks. So there's only a very few that meet the criteria. I hope that makes sense because this is a very powerful thing. Any good system can only tell you no. Don't go into that market. Don't go. And even when you think about diets are all about carving away stuff that you are doing, right? So that you can keep the things that you are doing that will actually make it helpful for you, right? Can only tell you how to say no. It's absolutely crucial. Now, that's a problem. Why is this such a problem? Because particularly for high fact finders, you know who you are, right? Now, I use the term, you'll hear me often. Let me just, I will mention this just briefly here, right? I often mention high fact finders and I often mention high quick starts. They are the two types of they are the two large groups of entrepreneurs, and they're completely different. They work in completely different ways, and it's from a thing called the Colby Index, right? Which is a very cool thing. If you've got a spare $30 or $40, it's a great thing for you to do because it's so revealing. Thomas, for example, has put his number up there, 7534. He is a high fact finder. Bless you, Thomas. And me, I'm a 4194. And that is the 9 being quick start. I'm a ridiculously high quick start. You know, Bill Thompson is a ninja level fact finder. But he's also a good follow through, which puts him in the rare category, right? So this is no. What do you notice apart from Bill? the vast majority of people have all got follow through below 7. That's what makes an entrepreneur an entrepreneur. And that's why you suck at being managed. All right. And because you'll look for different ways of doing things. So this is the point. Anyway, so I just mentioned that by the by. But with high fact finders, a characteristic, which is a great characteristic, is that you want to be really sure of what, whenever you're doing something, you want to see the path ahead. You want to make sure you're prepared for that path ahead. You want to make sure that, okay, when I'm climbing the mountain, what are all the possible things that could go wrong? There could be grizzly bears, so I better take a tranquilizer because we're all peaceful people. There is, it's a snowy mountain, so I better put some, wet weather gear in my pack and some cold gear in my pack. And what fact finders do is that they get so wrapped up in the preparation, all of a sudden their backpack has become so big that they never actually go up the mountain because they're in constant preparation. Now, on the other hand, high quick starts, like myself, all I've got is my jocks on, or let's say Speedos, and I'm going, YOLO! And I run until I get to the snow line and meet the grizzly bear, and then I get eaten up, right? Because I didn't prepare at all, right? Right? I didn't prepare at all. Oh, it's horrible. Oh, Red Dead Redemption. If you've been playing Red Dead Redemption, you'll know what it is, right? So you have to be certain of things before you start, compared to us high quick starts, which are just like, woohoo, let's do it, yay, and we run off and there's no preparation at all, right? This is the nature of things. So particularly when it comes to, don't worry, quick start. High fact finders at this point in the process, this is your hardest part, right? We're talking about this in the academy during the week, right? This is your hardest part of literally everything else from here, it's downhill. When all you're doing is you've got it in one there, Michaels. All you're doing, right, is it's going to be hard here, but then everything from now on, after we get over this hump, is so much easier. That's, the recipe is, because you just have to follow a recipe, right? So you just trust in the process, right? Because it's a proven process, right? So you're getting the recipe from a master chef. However, the way your brain can stop you is in this: will it work? Will I like it? Will I waste my time? Okay, so that is what we've got to look at. All right, so I'm going to get you over that. So let's get into it. So the other, what I want you, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 keys. 4 keys today. 4 keys to help us today. The first rule is no judgment. And Barbara is here today, and hi, Barbara. And it was great. During the week, we were talking about her particular project, and there was a lot of where she had a challenge because she was thinking about the future. Well, what product am I going to create? What product am I going to create? What service am I going to create? I don't know what I'm going to build here. Will they like it? Right? And you get in this loop of all of these things. No, Red. No. We're not interested in that, right? Because part of the recipe is, if you don't test that you've got the right ingredient. Now, before you cook, right, what do you have to have? If you're going to cook, I mentioned key lime pie. What do you absolutely have to have if you're going to create a key lime pie? What do you absolutely have to have? Ingredients, Linda, spot on. What ingredient in particular? It's in the name, right? Key pie, lime. Right? If you don't have the lime, right, you could substitute another acid, but you would have a lemon cheesecake if you use lemon. Or if you use something else, it would be something like a good chef, a good master chef could adapt and say, well, I've got the biscuits for the crust, I've got the butter, I've got all of these things, but I don't have any limes. No limes. So I've got to, at the very least, so a master chef will be able to go, okay, but I understand the properties of lemon and I know what the lime is doing in this recipe. So I am going to use lemon, and then I'm going to, adjust the lemonness of it by using a vanilla extract, because a master chef knows how to do that. You're not master chefs. If you're going to cook a key lime pie, you need to make sure you got the lime. Right? It's absolutely crucial. So what we have to do right now is we don't want to do judgment, because right now you're writing off a whole bunch of recipes based on stuff in the future. And what's even worse and what's even more of a crime is you're wiping it off in your head, right? With no actual real world. And this is highly ironic, because another thing you love as a fact finder is stats, right? And reality and measurements and key information. You like a recipe, yet you're writing your markets off and you're stopping from choosing a market because you are in your head mentally saying, well, I can't do that recipe. No, can't do that recipe. Can't do that recipe. Can't do that recipe. Can't do that, without any stats, without any possible data at all. But the good news. So how to imagine if you're in your restaurant, right? Imagine your restaurant. So you've got a menu in your restaurant. I can't spell restaurant, whatever it is. Can't spell it. If you're in your restaurant, you've got a menu, correct? Now, the first thing that the head chef does at the very start of the day, crazy occupation, by the way, being a chef, they go to the markets. And they have to make sure the ingredients for that menu exist. Right? So that's the first point. So if physically they go to the market and there's no lime, to continue our metaphor, there's no fresh lime, because there's no way they would use a supermarket lime. Guess what? They modify the menu. There is no key lime pie. And then they'll look and see something else. So, but how do they modify? They only do that based on the fact that at the market, there was no lime. How did they know that? They went to the market, they went to the stall, and they did that. They did a test. They did an experiment. They did. Now, there's a second part. Say they did see the limes there, and everything on the outside of the lime was great, right? Everything in the outside of the lime was great. Everything was great. This is the other thing, and this should just be music to your ears. I'm going to speak and spell incorrectly in French. Plus, actually. Mise en place. Everything in its place. The second part of what they do in a restaurant is they prepare. all the ingredients. Because imagine if you didn't prepare all of the ingredients for all the different things on the menu before the customers. And if you've ever watched Kitchen Nightmares, you'll know what happens. Right? It's French for everything in its place. Right? It's the first thing. Once all the ingredients are gathered, they make sure everything is in its place. Now, they don't do that, right? They don't just mentally go, oh, that's where the limes are. That's where the pie crust is. That's where the butter is. They prepare it out. If you Google it, you'll see that each station in the kitchen has their ingredients beautifully set out. This is the mise en place. They prepare it. They chop it. They cut it. They prepare it. They mix so everything is ready to go, so that when they're there to do the recipe, boom, everything is in its place. But they prepared it. So what happens if they cut open the limes and the limes have worms in them? Right? What happens then? Again, they know way before opening that that's the case, but they know that not based in their heads. Do you see the craziness? It's like, for you high fact finders, it's like you're trying to deliver a menu in your brain and you go, oh, well, okay, this market, I can't think of what I would create out of these things. I don't know you don't even have the recipes yet. You don't have the things. And wouldn't it make sense? Let's go back to our big lesson, our fundamental. Any good system can only tell you how to say no. So doesn't it make sense that we run everything in its place? We do our mise en place early. And if something's wrong, that is when we get hard data back from the market to say, okay, great. That is, that is, okay, there are no limes today. Or the market, nobody wants to talk to me. Fundamentally, right, you've decided the market's wrong in your head. Now, here's the news flash. The key test in any market is, will the market talk to me? That is the test. Sort of sneaking ahead to next week a little bit. So if this is key, because here's the thing, folks, if the market won't talk to you, guess what? Are they ever going to buy anything from you? Right? If they won't even talk to you, then how are they going to buy anything from you? Ever. Right? So if I've done, this is the most important part of our mise en place, of our cooking preparation. What do I mean by talk? I mean talk. They won't respond to you. How do you speak to people? I don't know about you. Do they respond to your emails? Do they chat to you on Messenger? Do they speak to you on the phone? There are a million ways in which we converse between two human beings, which is part of okay, so as a master chef, I know, and I'm just pulling this figure out of my butt, right? There's got to be at least 15 different ways to figure this out. Some of them, though, are appropriate for some people, and some of you are appropriate to other people, right? That is part of this. So when we talk about if we go right back here, if we talk about our market, what our salt is, this is what I was talking about, right? We're choosing a market now, right? That's because we've got to know what we're going to cook. Okay, that's before we even get to this part of the process, right? That's at the starting line. We're here right now. We're here before we even get in to the process. The salt at the market, which is what we'll be putting together next week, is, frankly, will they talk to us? It is that simple. It is that simple and that difficult. But here's the news, fact finders. Isn't it much better at this point? And by the way, we can usually figure this out over, well, it depends how many tickets you've got, right? So let me refer to it in tickets. Jeez, see, old habits die hard. Old habits die hard. See, even I have to catch myself. Typically, the market process, this process is roughly, here we are, do a different cover, 7 to 12 tickets. Depending on which type of process that we use, right? So that's the thing. Now, when you're learning and when you're a basic, when you haven't really cooked a recipe before at all, you haven't done a successful recipe, then we're going to keep it real simple, all right? And we'll leave the exotic stuff to the master chefs who have done it a lot of time. But still, at the end of the day, if you I don't know if you've ever tried creaming butter. God, it's a pain in the neck, especially without hand cream. Like when you don't have like some of us only have a wooden spoon, so we only need to wooden spoon it. But as you get more skills, you realize, hang on a second, this wooden spoon stuff sucks, and you get that the great mixer, and you go, right. But that's when you've got a mixer, all right. So often when we're first learning how to cook, we have to learn the fundamentals. Paulson says, I may be jumping ahead. What questions are we asking to see if they talk back to us? You're totally jumping ahead. Why? Have you chosen your market yet? Right? I'm only doing all of this for the reason I went through this explanation is to drill into all you, particularly the high fact finders, because the quick start's going, oh, let me edit, Ed. Let's go. YOLO, let's do it. I can't wait. Doesn't matter. I'll choose anything. I'll choose anything, Ed. You just tell me, let's do it. Let's do. Tickets, steps, please define. No, I'm not. The reason we're here today is to choose a market. That's the only thing I'm going to define. Why? See, you talk about what's a massive problem. Is you all worry about stuff that is not in your immediate future. You're already trying to figure out the garnish on the key lime pie before you've determined whether you have limes yet. Isn't that stupid? Isn't that crazy? You don't know if you've got limes. Why am I going to talk to you about what garnish we're going to use yet? We can't even figure out whether we've got the core ingredient to the cake before all you lot are talking about, oh, what's the garnish? You know what my favorite garnish question is when it comes to business? Oh, I'm not sure about my tax situation. Total garnish. Right? We're doing a recipe. The only thing you need to focus on is that one ticket. The one thing that you are doing today. You need to cream the butter. That's the only thing you need to know. You've got a recipe, right? You've got the recipe. You've got it all. Then you need to focus on this. That's a ticket, by the way. Right? Now, in your very first email, if you do want to get an idea of the terminology, in your very first email I sent to you, and I'll include it in the next email as well, which I'll send out tomorrow for next week's times, is I gave you a link to my Kanban course, right? Because that is going to be our kitchen. Right? Our kitchen, where everything that we do. Diego, what does it say in the ticket? Diego, you're talking garnish. You're paying tax. All I care about is, do you have limes? That's all I care about. That's all you should care about. There is nothing that you do there, right? There's nothing that you can do. We just need to see you got limes or not. Have you got limes? That's all we need to know. And don't worry, we're about to do an exercise which will make sure that you've got the lime. All right. Okay. So the Kanban course, just as a little advertisement, which you get for free, right, as part of as part of this, you're welcome, is where you'll get, if you watch the first video of that, you'll get an explanation of what, when I'm talking about tickets and all those sorts of things, you'll get an explanation of all those things. And of course, next week, I am going to talk to you about tickets very specifically, because we'll be creating our marketing tickets so that come January 1, you can go bang and you're on your way. Because the very first thing that we need to determine is, will our market talk to me? Right? That's it. And if a market won't talk to you, we need to choose a different market. That is very, very simple. The Kanban course is, and here's the thing, you know what the other thing that's a problem is, when you're thinking about all this stuff that's so far ahead, this is the beauty of being a Forrest Gump. And that's what I am, right? I'm only ever thinking about what's in front. I can't be bothered thinking about what's going 10 miles down the track, because you know what? When I'm thinking 10 miles down a track, I can't be in the present. Let's get all meditative for the moment. Let's get all Buddhist, right? When I'm constantly thinking about stuff down the front, I miss everything that's happening right in front of me. And as any Buddhist or any meditation expert, let's take the religion out of it, any mindfulness practice will tell you that is the road to anxiety. What is anxiety? What is the condition of anxiety? Worry about stuff in the future. Depression is regrets about and worry about things that have happened in the past. Right? As marketers, as business creators, as chefs, we can't, if we're constantly fretting about how this key lime pie is going to turn out, guess what? We're going to notice that we're thinking about that, and guess what? Our bloody butter, when we tried to creaming it, has turned and we missed it. Just like many of you are missing things that I'm saying right now because you're not here. You're not here in the present. You know, I told you where the Kanban course was. I told you when we're going to do these things, but you missed it because your brain is not here in the present. Right? What would a master chef do to an apprentice chef? It'd be idiot sandwich time. You'd be yelled at in the kitchen. Focus on dicing those carrots. Nothing else. And that, by the way, is the beauty of Kage. Because if you take pleasure in doing perfect diced carrots, you'll enjoy the process instead of constantly, right, going, oh, you know, you're giving yourself anxiety, right? Which is the definition of anxiety, is thinking about stuff in the future and worrying about stuff in the future, or worrying about stuff in the past. Oh, last time I tried to create a key lime pie, it was a disaster, and I've got so many regrets. I didn't have the lime, and I realized it was a problem, and that's really bad. You can have business anxiety and business depression. Right? So for God's sake, just focus here. Welcome to my tough love style. Right? Okay. Enough of me preaching. Enough. Let's work. Okay. So here is what, and I'm going to show you, I'm going to call the ball. I'm going to point. I'm going to do a Babe Ruth point, and I'm going to show you how to lower your concerns with this exercise. And Academy students will be very familiar with this exercise. It's something we do in the Academy all the time, and it's a little bit of magic. Don't spoil it for any of you Academy members who are here. All right. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do another timed exercise, right? And it's going to be 2 minutes. And this is going to be for those of you who the exercise will take a slightly different course depending on whether you have chosen the market or have not chosen the market. Okay. So for those of you who have, where did I put my, oh, there it is in its actual spot, mise en place. For those of you who have market, when you're doing this exercise, I want you to focus on what are the concerns you have about this market. So you've already got the lime. You're looking at the lime though, and you're going, oh, it was a bit squishy. Oh, not sure. Is it? Oh, is it? Well, there's a brown spot there, right? What are the concerns you have about the market you have chosen when you're doing this exercise? And I just want you to jot them down, okay? As many as you can possibly get out of your head in the 2 minutes if you have the market. If you haven't chosen the market, okay, what's stopping you? What's stopping you? And try to be as specific as you can. Get as many of the things down as you can, but try to be specific. Saying, I'm not certain, or I'm not sure about it. That's not good enough. What are you not? Why are you uncertain about it? Go down, drill yourself down. Okay. Try to be specific as you can. Okay. So all I want you to do is grab your pen and paper, and I want you to write down as many of, and if you have a market, the concerns that you have about that market. And for those of you who haven't chosen a market, what's stopping you? Okay, so you've got that. Just give me a yes that you understand what the exercise is in the chat. Just let us know. That would be awesome. Very, very good. Okay, so this is just pen and paper. No need to put anything on the screen. Fantastic. Okay, here we go. I am going to give you 2 minutes. Okay, here we go. Set a timer for 2 minutes.
Okay, 2 minutes and counting.
Okay, off you go. 2 minutes. And while you do that, I'm going to get a drink of water. So, if you have a market, what are the concerns you have about that market? If you haven't chosen the market, what's stopping you from choosing the market? As many things as you possibly can. Break it down into as many little details as you can. Just don't say, I'm not sure, right? Or I don't know how. Why don't you know how? What specifically don't you know? Right? Be as detailed as you can. All right. I'll be back in 1 sec. If you've only got 1 or 2 things, I want you to be as granular as you can get. Try to break it down into its little component parts. Okay, we've got 20 seconds. All right, pens down. Cool. Well, it's not cool because these are things that are concerned, but you put them all down on paper, which is fantastic. Okay, now what I want you to do is I want you to have a look at the list, and in terms of just you and which, like, of all the different concerns, right, that you have got down on your paper, I want you to have a look at it and look for the biggest concern, the thing that stresses you out the most, the thing that you're most worried about. Of all the concerns that you put down, this goes for everybody, by the way, of all those concerns you put down, I want you to identify the key element. Not actually, that was bad. I want you to identify which one of these was the key concern. Okay, I will give you a minute. So go through them and look at it. Which one are you least certain about? Which causes you the most concern, the most stress? And when you've identified it, by the way, could you pop it in the chat window? Because I think it'd be very helpful for you your fellow apprentice chefs to realize that people have very similar concerns. Better operators in the market already, making a sale. Is the market too big? I will not get results. Will I be able to make money? I don't know enough, don't know their key problems. Will people pay for my services? People won't like my artwork. Will they be receptive to the message? Top competitors in the market. Poor follow through, not an expert. Writer's block, how to find the right customer. Don't have an interesting enough hook or story. Identifying micro target. Market is big. Big market with lots of competitors. People have questions I can't answer. Not sure I reach an audience in an economical manner. Market small enough and reachable enough. Chasing for clients. Things I like, I'm not good at. Everybody missed the expertise lesson from last week. That's okay. That's okay. If that's your concern, that's your concern. I want it out here on the table. Very important. Deciding the target market after drilling down. Putting too much effort in the wrong direction and ad spend. Now cannot afford to make the wrong choice. Classic, very important one. Physical products, mostly low tickets. Okay, great. Well, not great. They're all, I often say things, oh, awesome. What a great problem to have. No, that's fantastic. Okay, we've got it down on paper. Okay, now we're going to do something really fun. Academy students know what is going to come. All right, here we go. I'm going to give you another 2 minutes. Okay, and here's what I want you to do. I want you to look at what are things that we could do to figure out your concern, right? Just as many solutions as you can possibly come up with, right? Which market is the most profitable? Well, how could we solve for that? How could we figure that out? Right? How could we? So I just want you to come up with as many ideas as you possibly can. And by the way, spoiler alert, Diego, we never know which market is the most profitable, but I can tell you for certain which market is the least profitable. Okay, so it's a little twist, but remember, any good system will tell you how to say no. Right? There is no system on the planet which will pick winners. You can never pick winners, but it's very easy to pick losers. right? It's as the great scientific study on identifying terrorists to getting on planes. Not a pleasant topic, but a very important topic. And what they realized was that there's no way that any screening system could pick a terrorist. Just can't do it. But when they created a screening system to pick not a terrorist, that was really easy. That was really easy. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so what you're going to do is I'm going to give you 2 minutes, and I want you to come up with as many ideas as you possibly can for turning down. If the level of concern is 10, how do we turn down that volume? How do we take what activities, exercises, experiments could we do, research could we do to turn down our concern from a 10 down as low as we possibly can, right? We may not get it to a 1, but can we get it down to a 5 or a 6, right? If it's a 10 now, how do we turn that down? As many things. Now, let me give you very specific criteria. You can go crazy, right? You can go crazy with your ideas for solving the problem. I encourage you to be crazy, right? You can use completely unrealistic solutions. It doesn't matter. Okay. Appear on Mastermind with 3 other experts to see if I can cut it with the other experts in the market. That could be a way of determining whether you're an expert enough, right? Have fun. Don't judge at all. We're not judging whether they're good or bad ideas, right? We don't know. All I want you to do is come up with as many. And here's the contest, right? Here is the contest. Diego's asking a garnish question again. Please, everybody, just listen to what I'm saying. Be present. You want to know why you aren't successful in business? Is because you're constantly thinking about stuff in the future, or you're constantly thinking about stuff that happened before. You're not here. Be here now, as they say with the hippies, right? There's more to it. Just be here. Just listen to the words coming out of my mouth. Do the things that I say. If you're thinking about how you're going to butter the cream when I'm asking you to dice the carrots, guess what? In the kitchen, I'm going to yell at you. Focus. Please focus. We're going to spend 2 minutes, and it doesn't matter how crazy, doesn't matter how things. I want quantity of ideas. Right? It's a 2-minute timed exercise, but it's a very different exercise. I just want quantity, right? I want quantity, as many things. Doesn't matter how crazy, how silly, it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter. I just want solutions. Anything that dials down that certainty, right? I just want anything that dials down that concern from 10. Oh, I'm really worried about this. We want to dial it down. Okay. Anything. And here's the deal. I don't want you to put it in, at the end of this, when I say pens down, the winner of this exercise is going to be the person who has the most number of potential solutions to figuring out their particular problem. Okay. That's the only thing I'm interested in. So if you get 7, you get 7. If you get 15, you get 15. If you get 5, you get 5. All right. So, that's what we're looking for, right? So as soon as the pen's down, then I want you to, in the chat window, bam, put the number. Count how many you've got and put the number, right? That's what we're focusing on. Quantity, quantity, quantity. Here we go. I think I've made my point. Set a timer for 2 minutes.
Okay, 2 minutes and counting.
Okay, go. Many ideas. Use shorthand. Use bullets so you understand what you do. Richard, I can't wait for ticket nightmares. That's a thing. That's going to be a thing. I've actually hired somebody on Fiverr to do a slide for me. Come on, as many as you can. Richard, that smiley face just cost you one idea. It was my fault. It was my fault, Richard. I was throwing you off, but I know you can handle it. Come on, as many ideas as you possibly can. You have got 1 minute. You can literally double the number of ideas you've got right now. No judgment. Doesn't matter whether it'll work or not. It's just an idea. It's just an idea. It's just an idea. It's just an idea. "40 seconds. Come on, you can do many more than what you've got right now. Doesn't matter how crazy it is. I buy Ed Supreme gear and he feels massively obligated to help me out because of that awesome gesture." That's one. "10 seconds. Come on, you can do at least a couple more. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's it. Pens down. Stop. Stop immediately. Stop and quickly count them in the chat. As many of you got. Quick. Put them in the chat. How many did you get? 12. Michael, our first contestant. 7, 10, 5, 15, 11, 8, 12, 7, 6, 10, 11, 6, 25. 25 is our current winner. 11, 6. Who's that? Jodine. 17, 14, 5, 11, 6, 9, 13, 5, 4, 14, 24. Just missed out on the chocolates, Thomas. 9. And I'm sure there's more coming through. 18, 6. Fantastic. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Now I am going to give you a minute, right? And now, okay, High Fact Finders, this one's for you. All right. This one is for you now. Right. I've been pushing you a little bit today. I know. But this one's for you now. You're going to love this. I'm going to give you a minute. And I want you to now bring reality and what seems like the best of those solutions. What's the best solution? And I want you to pop, if you can, once you've chosen it, pop it in the chat window. That would be awesome. Okay. So what is your best solution? Okay. Oh, here we go. I'm going to give you 1 minute. Have a good look at all of the things. By the way, I think 25 was the winner. Jodine. You have access to that, Bill, but I wouldn't want to put your professional stuff antes. Let's have a look. Micro niche down. How would you do that, Brian? How would you micro niche down? What process would you use? Don't have experience in the market. I can hire someone to teach me. Yes, totally. Best solution. Often question the client. You stay on top, make more offers, survey questions, find out if people will actually talk to me, make a video, go out and talk to as many people as possible. Pick a different market, even though it's not something I currently enjoy. Jill, newsflash, no, that completely, that misses the thing entirely. Learn not to care so much. Yeah, it helps for me. Research and participate in niche user forums. Is there an affiliate resource? Quora or Q&A platform to see what types of questions are asked. Multiple small experiments. Call people in the market to ask. Find a cadence no matter how and see if it works. Get good work at Upwork, Fiverr to do stuff I don't like to do. Don't know enough. Talk to people who do. Nice. Survey clients. Very cool. Look what you just did. Look what these are great solutions. Look what you just did. right? By getting it out of your head and onto paper, right, you immediately came up with a really cool, well, you didn't immediately come up. What I did, the trick, was I got you to put down a whole bunch of stuff, because I knew if I get you to put down a whole bunch of stuff in there somewhere, your brain would come up with something that you could do. Go to some writer meetups. Love it. Interview people about their software technology problems. Fantastic. Search results, break down to find smaller niches. Ah, very good, Brian. Nice. Very good. So that's something even more specific, right? And we'll get into real specifics next week. Cool. Okay. Isn't that impressive? Isn't that an amazing exercise? Sort of thing we do in the academy all the time. Okay, I want to pause for a second, and we're going to wrap up today's session. But what I want you to do is I want you to give me, what's been your big insight from today? What's been the biggest insight from what you've learnt today? I'll just give you a couple of minutes to type that into the chat window. Set a timer for 2 minutes.
Okay, 2 minutes and counting.
Use Facebook targeting lookalike audiences to narrow the target. Yeah, forget the garnish. How's the lime? Nice. You have to get the no. Yeah, because there's no, unless you get some sort of actual feedback, the causes of anxiety and depression. Yeah, I know, because I suffered depression myself. Figure out the core ingredient of your recipe first. Benefit of moving issue from head to paper. Get off my butt and produce something. Very nice. Focus more in the present moment. Focus. Get the ingredients first. Be present. Getting unstuck by facing what's stopping me. The concerns were not really a problem. Found a solution. Awesome. That's what I love to hear. That's great. Thinking on paper is helpful, and prompts help ask questions afraid to ask myself. Any good system will only tell you what won't work. So true. Being more in the present. Stay focused. Getting started more important than getting it perfect. Be present. Work on first things first. Only know definitely what doesn't work. That my brain does work. And when I put my mind to it, I can come up with solutions. Hooray. Get out of your head and onto paper. Will the market talk to me? There's always a solution. Any system can only show you what won't work. Take 2 minutes and dump on paper. Instead of worrying on my head, I do that all the time. Right close handy, I've got my little timer. Right? I do it all the time. Or I ask Siri, or I've got so many assistants near me. It's ridiculous. Computer assistants. I need to keep focused and not let Ed distract me. Yes, in your case, definitely, Richard. That's very good. 2 minute anything goes. Fantastic. Look, that's awesome, folks. That's really good. So next week, we're going to start the recipe, right? And we're going to focus, spoiler alert, on will the market talk to me, right? So to figure out a market to talk to, you need to pick a market, all right? So you have to choose, and you have to pick something, and you need to pick something by the next lesson. Okay, so you've got a time box, you've got a constraint, right? You need to pick something. Now, when I say pick something, we're picking something to test, because this first part of the recipe, just like if I'm going to the market in the morning, getting up super early, and I'm looking at the limes. Now, there's a bunch of limes there. So they're all, hang on, come on. There are all these limes, right? But I reckon this one looks the best right now. But if I cut it open and it's not right, then I need to pick the next one. And if that's not right, I need to pick this one. Oh, good. This one works. Right. So you may have a bunch of markets that you still can't choose between them. You need to pick one, and you need to pick it based on dollars. And most importantly, because I saw it, I forget who it was, but you'll remember I pointed out to you, if the market is not, I'd prefer the market to be in your Ikigai than dollar. Like if you had a choice between the two, then I go this. Every market's a market. However, very important for you to understand right now. If you're choosing solely on Ikigai, please understand this is, give yourself a 1 to 2 year timeline. I just want to give you the truth. Right? Because what will happen, it's still a 68 ticket business. But there might be a part in the middle here that you need to loop. Right? And that depends on the particular market that you're in. Right? So just understand. And how do you know that? Right? It's very, I just told you why it is. Right? The best market is a combination of the two things, dollars plus, because we're not thinking about products and services. We're not all, be very clear. All I'm asking you to think about is your Ikigai and the dollars, right? Are there dollars in the marketplace? They are the only two things. There is no suggestion of, what products or services that you're going to do, whether the market will talk with that. We will all test. We will all do as we go through in the recipe, right? These are the only two criteria I'm asking you to look at. And when we join together next, you have to have that. If you don't, you won't go any further. And the only reason you won't go any further is because it's just it's not for you right now, right? You're just in a place where you're not ready to build a business yet. You're not ready to go pro, and that's fine, right? Please understand that's totally cool. Let me know. I'll refund you immediately. But you need to know what you're going to cook, right? You need to know. We need to know the market. That's it. We just need to know that it fits in Akagi. Number one, that's the priority. Let me write that in. This is your priority. Number one, it must be here, right? If the market doesn't exist in here, do not do it. Do not do it. Second, if you're choosing between two and there's one market that's perhaps got more money because you've got two, you've got a bunch of markets from here, then that will be perfect. Akagi plus dollars equals a very sweet market. Couldn't have said it better myself, Diego. Well done. All right. Look out tomorrow for the email with the session times. There'll be some links for you for different elements of things, and we're going to get into tickets and all of the bits and pieces, right, that we'll need for you to gather for next week, because we're going to start building our recipe next week. I'm very excited about it. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we're going to focus on, will the market talk to me? Because if the market won't talk to you, nothing else matters. All right, nothing else matters. Fantastic. Oh, and that's great. Very good. All right. With that, ciao for now. Love you all. And I hope you got a lot out of today. I certainly did. Have a great day, everybody. See you next week. Enjoy. Timothy, what is the definition of a market? Is a group of people that you can serve. It's that simple. And particularly at this point, that's the only thing that we're interested in, is something that you're interested in that you can serve, right? They've got problems in need of solutions. You don't need to know what those problems are right now, right? That's not important. Don't need any of that. It's just a group of people that you can serve, that you'd enjoy serving. That could be Magic the Gathering, a small market, small dollars, or it could be golf, big dollars. They've both got their, pluses and minuses. Now you need to figure that out. And that's right. Yes, as the sun has risen here in Australia. So good luck, everybody. Have a great week. And I'll see you next week as we start building our recipe. Very exciting. Woo! All right. Speak soon.